Hello, everybody. It's July 13th, and I'm about to get into Romans 4. But before I do, at Bible study last night, I heard something that says so beautifully. Well, it took me like 15, 20 minutes to try to explain, about the obedience. So listen to this. Uh, If a person obeys because he has no choice in the matter and would rebel if he had the opportunity, there is nothing in his obedience. The obedience of faith springs from an internal principle and not from an external compulsion. The guy's name is his last name is Spurgeon or something like that. But I mean, I talked about obedience and true obedience, and if you would really rebel, then that's not real obedience there. Um, One thing to keep in mind is that teachers that teach on the Bible, teach on the Holy Spirit. One thing that's very encouraging is the consistency of a bunch of people. Like William Law and the other person I talk about, Andrew Murray, they both say the same thing. When they speak, just from maybe different points of views, or they've got a clearer insight to something. Like this guy had a clearer insight to that, than I had. I understood it. It'd take me 15 minutes to try to explain it to you, but I mean, he said it just perfectly, and one thing I'm actually going to jump to William Law, because he said the obedience of faith springs from an internal principle and not from an external compulsion. Now, I gotta read it one more time. The obedience of faith springs from an internal principle and not from an external compulsion. The obedience comes from the inside. It's not from an outside thing. Now let me go read from William Law and see what he says about things coming from the inside out. I'm going to read from, I'm going to start up a little bit higher. I'll just start here. It is the same with us. There is not a spark of joy, of wrath, of envy, of love, or of grief that can possibly enter into us from the outside of us, or be put in us by any outward thing. This is as impossible as it is for the sound of metals to be put into a lump of clay. And just as no metal can possibly give forth any other or higher sound than what is enclosed within it, so we, however struck, can give forth no other higher sound either of love, hatred, wrath, etc., than that very degree than previously shut up within us. He explains a little bit more. Our natural inclinations have a variety of covers under which they lie concealed at times, both from ourselves and others. But when some accident happens to displace a certain cover, what lies hidden under it will break forth. I was around some people one day. I guess you could say my old job or something, and around worldly people. They didn't believe like me, and they said, when you stub your toe, you cuss. I was like, no, I don't. I don't even think about it, and people think they have an excuse. Like if something happens to them, if something displaces that certain cover, the inside shows forth, and people of the world want to say deep down, if an accident happens to you, you're just covering stuff. They think us believers are just covering what's on the inside. But it's not true. Our inside is different from them. Let me continue. Then we vainly think that some particular outward occasion has not shown us how we are within, but has only infused or put into us wrath, grief, or envy, which is not our natural state, or is not from our own inward state. You might have to listen to this 2 or 3 times. I sometimes, have to reread this guy 2 or 3 times, because back in his day, they were much more educated than we are today. But they knew words that were this long, and I was like, whoa, what the heck is that? But anyways, I'll continue. But this is mere blindness and self-deceit, for it is impossible for the mind to have any grief, wrath, or joy except what it has from its own inward state. This is the same as an instrument giving forth any other harmony or discord except what is within it. I'm going to jump back and read this guy one more time. The obedience of faith springs from an internal principle and not from external compulsion. Persons, things, or outward occurrences may strike our instruments improperly and variously, but whatever we are in ourselves is what our outward sound will be, whatever happens to strike us. If our inward state is the renewed life of Christ within us, then everything and every occasion, whatever it may be, will only make the same renewed life to come forth and show itself. Example, then if one cheek is smitten, we may meekly turn the other also. But if unrenewed nature is alive in us and only under a religious cover, then every outward accident that shakes or disturbs this cover will allow that bad state that lies hidden within us, whether of grief, wrath, or joy, to show itself. But nothing at any time makes the least outward show or sound, except only what is already within us to be outwardly shown as occasion should offer. People, I say wear masks, and you gotta hang around somebody long enough to wait for accidents to happen until they remove that mask and their inward person shows. That's why it's, if somebody, oh man, good example. It's hard to trust somebody quickly, because you don't know who they really are. Not everybody. I used to tell people, let me pause and think for a second. A good friend of mine, okay, I've looked up to him for forever, and I always said he's the most original person I know. And I say that, connecting that to this story, because I was around him for forever, and any accident that happened, he never changed. He never wore a mask. And I said, I want to be like that. When I can remember talking about class rings in my senior year of high school, and I was looking at a picture of one, and I said, man, I really like that one. It's got a cool color to it and stuff like that. And then and I was talking with my friend Justin about it. And then like 10 minutes later, a girl came up, and she was looking at the same ring, and she said, you see that? That's disgusting. I do not like the look of that. And Justin just looks at me. It was like he wanted to know, what was I going to do? Was I going to be original? I mean, it probably was not this like thought out, but I could tell from him looking at me, he wanted to know, was I going to be like, oh, she's pretty, I don't want to disagree. Oh, you know what? It's you're probably right. It's not that great, No, but I stuck by what I said. I was like, I don't think that. I kind of like it, And I encourage originality and be yourself. I don't want to say I've prided myself on this, because I don't like the word pride, but man, I'm not educated enough in words to know another word to use. But I've always tried to be an original person, and there was no like accident or something that would make me react differently. I can actually remember trying to push a buggy into a cooler, and the buggy was real heavy, and it came back on me because I was trying to go up a slant, and it came back and it ran over my foot, and it went, oh, owie, 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 owie. And then that clicked, and I remembered that, being around those worldly people, and I said, I didn't think about cussing. It didn't even come close. It was just, owie, owie, owie. It kind of hurt, but I laughed it off, and my my toe is going numb. tum. That's the toe and numb. But it's something good to know. Be conscious about it, I guess. Your inward nature will always show itself. No matter who you're around, if you're around them long enough, they will eventually see your inward nature. And I don't really know how much more to go with that, but I'm going to leave it at that, and I'll make another video and start on Romans 4, okay?